Nick is right. What did you say?
I said when I'm interacting with people, I see fear come up because I'm trying to like hide.
Everybody in the world is don't want to be found out. You protect that false identity. You don't want people to know you're afraid. You don't want people to know you're this. You smile to pretend that you're nice. When you really don't like the person, you don't want to smile. You do things that you don't want to do. You put on a front, and you protect that front. You don't want the people to see it's a front. And so you protect that. I had some people tell me that they're afraid of, I had an interesting conversation last night with a friend, and they said they're afraid of their personality, their reputation being destroyed. And so I went through and with the reputation, I'm like, nobody care about your reputation. That's all in your mind. The people do not care about that. That's just an illusion, right? And then I had another friend, she said she was afraid of being gossiped about. She said that when she go amongst her friends, they all hang out together, they party. And for some reason, she think that when she lead the party, they talk about her. They say things about her that they wouldn't say to her, right? And so I was thinking about this. So that's the child of the greatest fear. Everyone has the greatest fear. And I was thinking about this over the weekend, all week. And I remember when I used to date a lot. And I used to, in order for me to break up with a woman, I had to have another one waiting in the West Ring. And so I would, because I remember thinking that, like when I first meet the woman, she made me feel so good. She loved me, I love her, we lied to one another, we go to lunch, you know what I'm saying? And it was really a good feeling. Anybody ever had that?
Yeah.
I'm in love again, right? And then as soon as things start going wrong, because they do, now you feel unloved. And you're trying to jump through hoops to make this woman love you, right? Because now you feel unloved. And then if it looked like the relationship is over, I would try to find another relationship to get in real fast so I could feel love again. And so I was thinking, well, that was so interesting to go through that. Why did I feel that? And I realized it was an idea. It was never real. I thought that she was making me feel good, but she was really making my ego to not me feel good. It was never me, but I thought I was feeling good. And then when she wasn't around, I would feel jealousy or bad. And I realized that wasn't even me either, that was feeling bad. But because I was identifying with the identities, and everyone have a truckload of false, fake identities, right? And because I was identified with those things, I thought I was being hurt or made to feel good. And that I loved her and she loved me, but I never loved her and she never loved me at all. It was all about this false self, this false ego. And what I realized from that is that every human being protect a false self. You protect a false ego. And you were saying earlier, you never really face these things, right? But the false ego is when you feel fear, when you feel shy, when you feel doubt, when you feel insecurity, when you feel worried, when you think about tomorrow or yesterday, or when you think about what you have or don't have, or when you compare yourself to others, try to be rich or try to be poor. All of those are false identities. None of those things are real. They are totally the nature of the devil. When you think of yourself as being an alcoholic or a drug addict or any form of identity at all, or you have a reputation. You don't have a reputation. Everybody gossip about everybody. Have you talked about other people behind their back? You've been talked about. That's what the children of the lie do. They're the children of the devil. Just as when you've done it, you would child of the devil. Talked about other people behind their back. This idea about reputation is a false identity. And we are afraid to face that. The greatest fear is to overcome the false identities that you have. Because what you don't know is that those false identities, if you face them, shaking your boots. So when Haight was saying that when you have to deal with people, you have to deal with people, and you feel a little shy about it, you feel a little nervous about it, don't run away from that, run to it. Let it happen. Let the fear happen and feel the fear. Relax in it. Even if you feel desperate or the end of life or whatever, desperation. Let yourself feel the desperation, because the desperation is the nature of the devil. It's not you at all, but you have identified with it. But if you feel it, instead of loving it, and people who run away from it, they love that feeling. They love the feeling of fear. They love the feeling of doubt. They love the feeling of holding on to a reputation, or holding on to this, or holding on to that, pretending. I realize that human beings love feelings. They do anything, whether it's a bad feeling or a so-called good feeling, they work overtime to get a feeling. When you start loving feelings, you'll be free. And the only way you're going to start loving feelings, this false self have to die. You are none of those things at all. And that's why in the scripture it said we should die daily. And die daily is when you're facing these things and not trying to prevent these things from happening, but face them. And Satan doesn't want to die. He wants to live in your body. He lives in human body. He and all his little demons, and they come in under the headline of oppression, suicidal thoughts, depression, loneliness, and all that. But when you allow those things to die, you're going to see that that's the spiritual death that we all have to do. There is no way around it. If you want to live, you must die. You're never going to live until you die. And the only way you're going to die is you got to face the so-called loneliness. You got to face the anger. You got to face the fear. You got to face everything is false. It's not even real. And when Satan said to you, well, how long is this going to last? Like you were saying about all those thoughts, and it just looked like they're never going to end. And the voices say to you, well, how long do you have to suffer? How long are you going to be afraid? What Satan is really saying, I don't want to die. But he sounds like you, so it feels like you're tired, and you're tired of dealing with it. But it's really him crying out that I don't want to leave you. I don't want to die. It's not you at all. But it sounds like you. He'll tell you, take a drink, call somebody, bake a cake, clean the house, anything to get you distracted from the lie. The greatest fear is dying from the false identities. And we always get the opportunity to die from those identities in almost every situation. When we have to talk to someone, when we have to work or whatever, dealing with people or being alone, and you feel lonely or you feel afraid. Those are the things that you want to face so you can die. You don't want somebody else to make you feel good to forget that. You don't want that. That is a false identity, and it's not you at all. Some people feel lonely, they take a trip. Oh, I'm going to Florida. And then all that hell go right to Florida with you. And it come back from Florida with you, and it's still with you. You got to die. There's once to die and once you live. And once you die from those things, you will no longer be afraid of death, because death won't exist anymore. It won't exist. Yes, your body will fade back into the dirt, right? But death won't exist. Death itself is an illusion. The only death you have to go through is a spiritual death of the nature of the devil. And so when people talk about you, that's why Christ said we were blessed when people talk about us. When people gossip about you, when people lie on you, because you've done it too. You're no different than, in that fallen state, we're all working with demons. And nobody has love, and everybody done the same thing that everybody else is doing. And when you're in that fallen state, you roam the earth to see who you can hurt, so you can get a false sense of life. Isn't that amazing? Even the idea of friendship is an idea. It's not even real. That's why you jump through hoops for a friend. Well, I thought you were my best friend. It was a thought. We can get along with people without attaching ourselves to them. All those things are identity. You don't have any love. You're not love. You're not hate either. It's the spirit of the devil that made a home in you. You're possessed. And that's why in God's eyes, you're neither guilty or unguilty. You're not a saint or a sinner. Because God knows that we have all these identities. We have false identities in us. And it's driving us to do the things we do. If you were in a fallen state, you would never hurt another human being. I mean, if you were in the risen state. It's only in the fallen state that we hurt one another. We do cruel things to one another in that fallen state. But when you rise above that, and you will never hurt another person, period. Because you won't need them. You won't need friendship from them. You won't need loveship from them. You won't need relationships from them. You won't need all that emotional stuff to make you feel any kind of way, and yet you'll get along with everybody. Because you would not need them. You could live as husband and wife and not need one another at all. And if one decides, well, I'm done with this marriage, you'll be like, oh, okay, bye. You won't have to go through heartaches and breakups and get call mama, mama, you left me. And mama like, come on home, baby. Mama got you. There will be no feelings about it at all. You're too into feelings. Your greatest fear too is to let feelings go. Human beings in the fallen state literally think we need to have feelings. How do I know I love you? I feel it. That's not love. When somebody tells you they feel it, what they're telling you, they hate you. Because that love feeling will quickly turn to a hate feeling. Because it's already a hate feeling. It just call it love because it feels good. But you got the greatest fear is all these identities that you've picked up along the way in life. I'm smart, I'm dumb, I'm this, I'm that. Listen how you talk about I, me. That's all ego. Everything about you. When Francisco would talk about vanity, it's all about vanity. Whenever you hear a person talk about themselves so much, they're vain. When you see people crying, why are you crying? Oh, I'm so hurt. Why are you hurt? My dog died. When they're telling you I'm a vain person and I love crying over the dead dog, and I need you to hear it so I can stay in my vanity. Pay me attention. You know how people get mad if you don't pay them attention? You give them attention? The wife could be complaining about something and the husband not even interested. You don't love me. But why you say I don't love you? You're not paying attention. You don't care about my feelings. And what she's saying, I'm a vain ego. I love these feelings. I need you to pay attention to them. This is my life. And then she'll go cheat on the man. Well, why'd you cheat on him? Well, he wasn't paying attention to me. He wasn't giving me enough attention. I'm like, are you crazy? This new man that you're with, once he gets done with you in bed, it's over. He ain't gonna pay you attention no more. He don't love you. It's just ego feeling, that's all. Isn't that amazing? Lady, men don't love you. Once they get you in bed 2 or 3 times, they don't know what to do with you. They're like, Lord, what am I gonna do with her now? I got all my satisfaction from her. I don't even know what to do with her now. And you up there talking about, well, I thought you loved me. No. Men don't love women and women don't love men. Yeah, something. But the greatest fear is all these identities you have, which is of the devil, they're not you. The real you will appear up here, and I don't want you to get any idea of what the real you look like, because the devil used that against you too. You'll know when you find the real you, but you must die. And when you forgive, because God is the light, right? And the light will destroy the darkness, all these fake identities. All these fake identities. When you forgive, the light will turn on, and it will start to show you the fake identities. For those who are truly seeking his way, he'll start to show you, and you'll start to let go. Somebody mentioned the greatest fear was letting go. The greatest fear is, one of the greatest fear is letting go and letting these ego false natures die. Joel and I was talking about it, and he was like, my greatest fear is letting go. I feel like I'm falling, and I'm holding on to a stern wheel. I cannot say it as well as he said it, but an example. And I feel like I'm falling, and if I let go of this stern wheel, I'm going to fall all the way. But that's what you want to do. You want to fall, and God will catch you. He will catch you. But you won't let yourself fall. You hold on to the false identity. You hold on to the ego. But let yourself fall. Let go. Reality is there's nothing we can do about ourselves. Face that reality. There's literally nothing we can do. That's another lie from the devil, that we can change ourselves, and we can't. You could read the Bible until the cows come home. Until they eat up all the cabbage and the melons. You still can't save yourself. We cannot save ourselves. The devil got you thinking that you can. Oh, if you read a lot of books, if you go and do this, if you feed the hunger, go downtown and feed the hunger, feed the poor, right? You'll be saved. No, you won't. You just would have wasted time on the hunger who would think that they're better than you. You notice how the hungry people come around, they throw all the trash out of the trash can right in front of your business, and they'll leave it there. And if you say, pick up that trash, you can't tell me what to do. Isn't that amazing? The homeless person feels like they're better than you, just like you feel that you're better than the next person. It's a false identity, folks. And that cry, and it's like what you were saying, those who are really sticking with it, that cry for life that you hear in your head, it's the devil crying out. It's not you. He doesn't want to die. And he's going to scream at you, he's going to accuse you, he's going to yell at you, he's going to bring in all these thoughts about things happened 30 and 40 years ago or yesterday or even this morning. Just let it pass through. Don't hold on to it. What he's really saying, I don't want to leave your body. I don't want to die. But you think it's you. It's not. The greatest fear is dying from the identities. They're all false. You're neither lonely nor happy. You're not alone. God is with you. God is not accusing you of anything. He knows that you're possessed. We are all possessed with the demon spirit in our imagination and emotions. They're not you. They're in your physical body, but it's not you. So you got to endure that too. Endure the pain, the false feeling of happiness and the false feeling of sadness. It's all fake.